Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Dr. Majid Al-Aboud. I am a consultant endocrinologist. But today I'm not going to talk about endocrinology. Rather, I will talk about academic publishing. And specifically, I will talk about how to prepare your paper for publishing. First of all, let's talk about the process of peer review. What does it mean? It means that when you submit a paper for publication by a journal, it will undergo revision and corrections by an expert or a group of experts in the field. These are called peers, and the process is called peer review. This is not a new concept. It has been here for 300 years. And the first one who used it is the Royal Society in London in the year 1665. And the process of peer review is very important. It is the backbone of the whole publishing. And the process of peer review puts the reviewer as well as the author in the same field. And without the reviewers, the paper will not be robust, and there will be no control of the process of publishing. So peer review is very important. This term is very important. So always try to publish your paper in a peer-reviewed journal. And the number of journal and academic publishing has been growing over the last years. And as you can see here in this graph, the number of papers as well as the number of journals is increasing year by year. And the academic publishing is there is a publishing cycle. So there are around 12 million articles available on the internet. And there are more than 700 million downloads. This is by the year 2014. There are more than 11 million researchers who downloaded these articles in more than 120 countries. But the bad news is that 30 to 60% of the articles are rejected by the journal. So around 1/3 of the papers that are submitted for publication are rejected by the editors, which is a very large number. There are more than 500,000 reviewers all around the world. And there are more than 365,000 articles published in the year 2014. So when are you ready to publish? This is very important question. So if you are submitting incorrect conclusions, or if you are duplicating a previous work exactly the same as a previous work, or you are presenting outdated work or outdated data and old data, then you are not ready for publication. On the other hand, when you are up to date, writing something new, or you are presenting significant enhancement of a previous work, you are enhancing the result of a previous publishers, or when you are presenting totally original result or conclusion or method, then you are ready for publication. So let's check out what we've understood from the previous slide. This is a question for you, and I will give you a few seconds to answer that question. Let me read it. You have published a paper, and since doing so, have carried out further related research with the new findings. Should you publish these findings or not? And the answer, yes or no. Clearly, the answer is yes, because you are presenting new findings. This is another question. You have carried out an extensive experiment and plan to slice the findings for submission of several different papers to multiple journals. Is this acceptable practice? The answer should be yes or no. And the answer is no. Why is that? This is called salami slicing. Salami slicing is, the salami is the small pieces of the sausage that we the circular pieces that we put in the pizza and we eat them. So the sausage here represents your paper or your research. And the salami are the pieces of your research when you divide your research into several papers and you want to submit each paper to a journal. For example, you have a thesis and you want to make many papers of that thesis, given that you have the same methodology, the same results, the same population, and the same hypothesis, and you try to slice these work into papers and submit each paper to a journal. This is an unacceptable approach. You shouldn't do that in the future. However, if you have a big trial, sometimes we have big trials and epidemiological study, and we reach different results with different methodology, different endpoints. At that time, it might be legitimate to present different papers from that single research. But you have to clearly state that this paper is a part of a larger study. So still we are talking about how to plan the article. What makes the manuscript strong or robust? First of all, it should have a clear and useful message. By clear and useful message, we mean that your target and endpoint is very clear. You want to conduct a very clear message to the reader. Second, it should be written in a logical manner. And third, the readers should grasp your research. They should understand your research. So make it easy to the reader so that they can easily understand what you are presenting. And there are different types of manuscripts. We have full research articles, for example, original research. And here, when you are presenting a case control study or a randomized control trial or an observational study. And there is substantial, complete, and comprehensive places of research here. The second type are letters to the editors or short communications. And these are actually a brief summary or quick and early communication of your results. Sometimes when we do results, when we do study and we have a fantastic result that we want to make the others know these results before publication, we think these results are thrilling and should be disclosed to the population before you are completing your article. Here you may send a letter to the editor. And finally, we have review papers. And the review papers represent a summary of a very important subject. Say you are thinking about a subject that there are many papers or research papers about that subject, and you want to summarize that subject, you do a review. But reviews usually are by invitation from the journal editorial board. Now let's talk about the best practice. The best practice for choosing the right journal is very important. There are many things we have to know as a best practice in choosing the journal. First of all, you should know the aim of your article. What is the aim of your paper? For whom you want to transmit your message. Second is to choose only one journal and do not choose multiple journals at the same time. So simultaneous submission of single paper to many journals is prohibited. Third, take advice from your colleagues, supervisors, and other people. They might help you. They might give you a good suggestion. And always, when you take the advice from them, this will make your article more robust. And fourthly, make a short list of the journals that are eligible for your paper that you want to submit to. So pick up a handful of journal names in a short list and then try to choose the best of these journals in this short list. And the choice of journal among this short list depends on many factors. First of all, it depends on the aims. What are the aims of your study? Should be in compliance with the aims of the journal. Second, the scope. Read the scope of the journal. All the journals, especially the more prestigious one, they have a paragraph on their scope at the beginning of their homepage. So read it carefully and try to understand that scope. Because, for instance, some journals, they are not accepting case reports or not accepting review articles. And other journals are only publishing case reports. And try not to submit your paper to a journal. For example, you are writing a subject about surgery and you submit your paper to a journal about dermatology. This is not acceptable. Then, the accepted types of articles. Read the types of articles that are present in the journal. Sample of these articles. By having a look on the articles, you will understand the sort of articles that are accepted for publishing in that journal. A very important thing is the readability of the journal. So there are open access journal that is open for all the public to read, and there are subscription journals that require subscription in order to read it. Of course, open access journals are more readable than subscription access journal. And finally, is the current hot topics. Now we are living in the era of COVID-19 infection, for example. And definitely, whenever this is a hot topic, COVID-19, and whenever you want to have a paper that is easily published, then write about COVID-19, because this is the hot topic now. Okay, how do we choose the journal? There are many tools, and we call them journal finder tool. We have the Scimago, we have the Cytoscore, and also there is a journal tool, as you can see here from the Elsevier. All what you have to do is to submit the abstract of your paper into the box here, as shown in the screen, and the journal, the Elsevier site will do all the thing. It will give you a list of the most suitable journal for your paper. Still, we are talking about choosing the right journal, and we will talk about an important term, which is called the impact factor. So the impact factor means the number of times a paper is cited in that journal over the last 3 years, divided by the total number of papers published in that journal. And it's obviously, the large number, the larger the number of the impact factor, the better is the journal and the more prestigious. And there are journals with high impact factor you should aim to publish in these journals. However, this is influenced by many factors, such as the editorial policy and the number of articles published per year. For example, there are journals that publish only high quality articles, and therefore you will see that the impact factor is very high. But on the other hand, there are journals that publish a large number of papers. Okay. A very important thing to do when you are preparing your article for publication is to write the guide for author or instructions for authors. It's very important. This section is present in all journals. So read it carefully, and look at each point. Try to manipulate your paper according to the instructions by the journal. If you don't do that, then you might waste your time. Why is that? Because when you submit your paper without reading the instructions for authors, it will be reviewed by the editorial board, and they might get it back to you for making the correction, and this is a time consuming. So to recap what I presented in this short presentation, it's very important to follow these mnemonic when you are preparing your article. First of all is the D. We have D, D, C, C. The first D is determine. Determine whether you are ready to publish your paper or not. Do not be rushed and publish papers that are not ready for publication. The second D is to decide on the best type of manuscript or paper. Are you going to submit your paper in the form of a full research article, or a review article, or a case report, or a short communication. And then we have the C is choose the target journal. Always give some time, give adequate time for choosing the best journal. Okay, and finally the last C is to check the guide for authors, a very important step. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and thank you.